Jonathan, and I created this channel. So this video I wanted to talk about, I thought I'd talk about things that help alleviate um, certain symptoms. Mostly mood symptoms. Some people experience depression um, along with schizophrenia, and there are things that you can do to alleviate those symptoms. I'll talk about those things. Let's just go through the list. So depression, what can you do now? Well, there's things you can do now. There's things you can plan. I would, the first thing I would recommend, unless you feel like you really need to talk to a psychiatrist or a doctor to prescribe you light antidepressants, that's a route you can take. But I'm not a doctor, and I'm not going to be recommending, medications of any kind. Just that for me, I am on a slight, or like a very small amount of antidepressants. I'm on escitalopram, which is also known as Lexapro. I've been on that for a while, but there's other things that I've done to help alleviate my my mood disorder, I guess, or like the depression that I get, along with schizophrenia. So there's this book that I read. I don't have it with me right now, but it's called The Depression Cure. It actually talks about different things that you can do to alleviate depression. So there's three main things that I'll talk about here, and it's very important. The first one is omega-3. Now, just taking omega-3 is helpful, but there's also something really important, and that is called EPA, which I cannot pronounce what that stands for, but it's very important to have EPA. If you look at the bottle of omega-3, look at the EPA. You want it to be as high as possible, or not as high as possible, but you want to take enough omega-3 that you're taking 1,000 EPA, which sounds like a lot, but if you add it up, what each capsule has, you want it to add it up to at least 1,000. For me, I go to 2,000 EPA, and that helps with my mood. So I would start with 1,000. This isn't medication, by the way. This is just stuff you can get off the shelf. Taking 1,000 EPA and seeing if it affects your mood. If that's not strong enough, then going to 1,500 or eventually 2,000. It won't hurt you in any way. As far as I know, it won't. It doesn't affect your. Well, at least the medication I take, it doesn't affect that. So that's one thing that I'd recommend. The other thing is vitamin D. One thing that I got very early on was a daylight, a sun lamp, which this will trigger your body into making vitamin D. Also, important thing to take with vitamin D is vitamin K. Somehow it kind of reacts with one another, and it's important to absorb. I believe to absorb them properly, to absorb vitamin D, you take vitamin K. So those are two things that I kind of learned from the book, The Depression Cure, which is by, who is it by? By Stephen S. Lardy, or Stephen S. Lardy. So I mean, that book in itself is pretty helpful. Maybe I'll stick a picture of it up here or here. The next thing I'd recommend is, you'll hear it a lot, and exercising is can be really helpful when you combine everything, combining those things that I mentioned. Exercise can alleviate your depression. Even The one thing that I'm trying to do, which I'm not really doing successfully lately, but is trying to have a certain amount of steps a day, depending on your body type or your body, or your weight or height, or age or whatever. Um, it's helpful to have so many steps a day, so you can just even walk, a certain amount of steps a day, or you can go to the gym, do a workout, blah blah blah. Yeah, so I really recommend those three or four things. Antidepressants would be more of a last resort sort of thing, I think. But talk to your psychiatrist or doctor about that. Again, the type that I'm taking is called Lexapro or escitalopram. There's different kinds, but um, my preference is to have a small amount of that, combining with the omega-3, vitamin D and K, and exercise. Really works to keep my mood leveled and staying, um, I guess, helping with anxiety, possibly even too. When your mood is good, it's easier to deal with certain emotions, and that's all I really wanted to talk about today. Um, yeah, so hopefully those things really help. I wish I was told um, to take those very specific things off the bat. I know vitamin D. Somebody, that was a very that early on. I got a sun lamp, but combining it with all those other things is really helpful. So yeah, I want this channel to be helpful and more immediate. So hopefully this little video can help you in some way, even if you're not dealing with schizophrenia. If you're dealing with like depression, which is the more which I'm focusing on more in this video. um, yeah, okay, great, thank you for watching. Bye bye.